All right, we're live on air. All right, this is going to be probably the start of a few hangouts we're going to do. Me and Dave thought it'd be good to do one again. It's been a plan in the making for a while, but just certain circumstances have stopped us from doing it. But anyway, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about just recent research nights that we've been doing. Dave did come up to Sassafras Gully at Springwood, and we had a good night there. Dave, you actually spent 2 nights there. Did you have anything happen before the night that me, Adam, and Eunice turned up?
No, it was a very quiet night, mate. I was pretty tired by the time I got down there, so I didn't do too much that night, and I just laid there and got an early night's sleep before I met up with you guys. But yeah. No, very quiet, very quiet. But beautiful spot. Beautiful spot.
Yeah, the hike-in isn't too bad, but still, it wore me out a little bit. I had that sleep during the day, so I needed to have a kick.
I'm just not used to traipsing around in the Blue Mountains, mate. It's what you guys see as an easy trek, I see as something a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, it actually, because it was much cooler, like, just to start at the end of the spring, start of the autumn, it was actually pretty good, because we went to the other end of that trail, as you know, in February, March, and it was like, I don't know, humidity was that high. By the time it got 10:30 at night, we were all buggered. We had enough. We were just too tired to go on, and everyone was just constantly sweating. So, it's hard to do them in those situations. But yeah, we did. It wasn't. I thought we'd probably get a bit more at the Martin's Lookout, but campsite, but there was some things moving around. I don't know if they're just smaller animals. Didn't really think there was anything major walking around there. So we can go. I might go back there again. Probably, 1 or 2 of us, or 2 or 3 of us, sorry, maybe to go down and just check it out with a smaller group.
Dean was camped a little bit away from us.
Yeah,
and he was pretty confident that something came down towards his lean hammock.
Yeah.
On the second night. So, and I think he got some recordings.
Yeah, him and Adam, they stayed up a lot longer than us, and they said they heard a couple of weird things go on. I haven't heard, because Roger was actually using my parabolic dish with the microphone, so I had to listen into it. I couldn't really hear anything that was, you could possibly say was Yowie related. Just the noises that was recorded, it just didn't stand out enough to warrant to post it. So
yeah, no, they leap out at you if they're the right thing.
All right, moving on. We'll go to the next one we've done. The latest one was Mera Mera that we went out to. Basically, we went out there because a fellow researcher in the Blue Mountains group, Heath, he said that he and a mate went fishing probably maybe a couple of kilometres down from there, and they were fishing and they heard something like a big tree or a branch, something like it was pushed. It wasn't cracked or anything like that. Like, it wasn't natural. They thought it was unnatural, and something had pushed it. And basically they kind of were fishing, and then they were kind of after a while, they kind of looked at each other and said they just felt like something was watching them, and they got a bit, they felt weird, like they're talking about infrasound. Makes you feel that, sick and scared and all them kind of anxious and that, and they kind of looked at each other and said, no, let's get out of here. So they took off out of there. So Heath just said about that to us, said try around this area, around the Hawkesbury. So he said you can go to a campground that's there and check out there. So I said, all right, let's go. So we worked out it was just north of Arcadia, Fiddletown, up there, Galston area. So Roger and myself went out there, and it was very quiet, and there was no one else there. And there's actually, they've got a toilet there, and they've got like a picnic table, so you can set up all your stuff. And we just camped around the picnic table, and then there's a fire ring, so you can make a fire there. There's actually quiet. There was not a, like, you can't hear anything other than the planes coming over, but they stop about 10:30. They stopped coming over. Anyway, we kind of got caught off guard a bit because it was a 3.5 kilometer hike in. The last kilometer is like flat, so it's, once you get down the bottom, it's flat, and it's hilly. It's just up and down a ridge like that. If you take your time and do it in 2 hours, we did it in just over an hour. If you take your time 2 hours, it's not too bad. If you're just slowly walking up, you know, you can do it. But we had my backpack with all my gear and everything. I had wet weather gear because it was said it was going to rain, so I had tarps and everything. So I was like 35 kilos, 38, something like that. So we got there. It was pretty good. The weather wasn't too cold, but we put thermals on and stuff. We started cooking some food. It was about 5 o'clock because we didn't get there till like 3 o'clock, 10 past 3. We left just before 2 o'clock. Anyway, yeah, we got caught off guard because as soon as the sun went down and it got dark, it was just the noises that came out. Like we heard foxes, you can hear them screams, but straight away, big tree break, bang, and I got that recorded. I was lucky. We walked down a little trail, maybe 20 meters, and then there's the creek, and all the fish are jumping out, like in their hundreds, like little ones, big ones. It was just fish just jumping out. They were going crazy. The high tide had come in, and then I got that tree break. Then we got something that was like full on ripping apart a tree. You could hear the actual grains of the tree, the wood, just getting pulled apart, and something had pulled it apart. And I recorded that, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, and it was like, just as it stopped making a noise, it was like whatever it was ripping the tree apart to get, it was actually just pulling the grubs out of something. And I never heard anyone record anything like a full-on tree. I don't know how big it was. It probably would have just been so big, you know, maybe so round, but it was just getting pulled apart, and that was real weird. Then we had a few vocals, you know, short ones. They didn't last long, but you could tell they weren't coming from a fox. There's no dog tracks there. The tide goes out right low. It's like under ankle deep. It goes really flat. There's all sandy areas. So if there's dogs on one side, they're going to come across to the other side. And we only really seen a couple of wallaby tracks where they've been on the sand, and then just people's footprints. We didn't see any dog tracks at all. So if there's wild dogs in the area, they're going to come across to that side too and check it out. And they know the campground's there, and they know more likely people maybe leave food, so they probably come and check out the campgrounds. But there was no dogs, so we just heard foxes. But then we heard a massive wood knocking that come from right up the top of the ridge, and I was really upset because I was there for like 40 minutes constantly just recording with my parabolic dish, and then like 10 seconds after it turned around and walked away, a wood knock happened, and Roger's like, "Oh, did you get that?" And I was just like, "Oh man, no, I missed it." And it was like, it echoed through the whole valley. It was really loud. And you look on the Google Maps, just the opposite of that campground, there's nothing there. It's just bush, and there's a trail that leads to a lookout, but it's really far down. So you know, it didn't come from there. There's no trails into that area. It's basically, you go across the creek when it's low tide, and you got to walk up the side. It's all muddy, but it's pretty compacted. You only sink in an inch or two, and you can get up there. And it's flat in some parts for maybe 20 meters, and then it's just straight up, and it's all rock. It's all crevices, and there's, you know, little overhangs and caves and stuff there. It's all through that area. So if they've got a chance to live anywhere, that's the area. So basically, we had heaps and heaps of noises. We were there till like, I think 2 o'clock in the morning. They just on and off. They go for a period in the area directly across from us, and then they'd stop, and then you'd hear maybe a couple of 100 meters down to 200 to 300. You'd hear the noises down there. So they've moved on, and then we're still recording a bit, but then we went back, sat down, and thought, "Oh, we'll just start the fire." Started getting a bit cold. hopefully they'll come back, because there's no way of us to go, there's no trail there to go down to that direction where they were. So anyway, what we did was we just kind of kept everything running, and then as soon as something like a noise we heard across the other side, we just pressed the button on the parabolic, and then turn the sound recorder on, and then just, you know, pan around until we heard something. We could hear things moving around. It sounded like they had a bit of weight to them. We heard vocals in the same direction that the next time we went when we got the howl. So that's basically all we got then. So then the next time, my wife came along, and Adam, a fellow researcher, we went there, and, you know, I said, let's have something to eat early, about 4 o'clock, get the fire going, get everything ready, everything set, you know, at least an hour before the last time, because I said, as soon as it gets dark, that's when everything starts happening. So anyway, basically, we got there, had it all set up, nothing. It's just quiet as. And there was a guy camping there with his girlfriend, and he came there to fish because he said one of his mates caught some big flathead there. So he came in, and we're like, oh man, we want to go out there. It's the perfect time. From at last time, it's around 6:30 when everything started happening, and he's there fishing, and you can hear, you know, we tried to get the parabolic out. You could hear his reel, you know, hear. So what we did was, we just waited for a while, and he didn't catch anything. So what we did was he just went past, and then said, I'm going to try tomorrow. But I knew it wouldn't be any good, because the tide was only just going to come in, and he was probably ready to go out, so to go home. So basically we waited, and he left, and I said, all right, this is the animal, do a bit of listening. So we had our little fold-up chairs, so we're sitting down, and Adam was to the left, and Eunice went a couple of 20 meters to the right, and they were basically using the parabolics while I had the night vision. But we got nothing. There was just dead quiet. They said there's a little bit of noises, just sounds like possums or something, you know, some small animals. So basically we kind of like, after about 45 minutes to an hour, we said, oh, let's go back. We'll just, you know, sit around the fire a bit, and we'll just wait for something to happen. Didn't really hear much. It was really dead quiet. It was like really eerie. There wasn't even frogs, bugs, nothing was making a noise. Anyway, and it's really dark. It gets really dark there. Like, so if you turn all your torches off and everything, it's, you know, you can't even see the trees 10 meters away. It gets that dark there because you're in the valley. Anyway, we're virtually saying, yeah, we're going to get ready to lay down, because, you know, we're thinking, oh, well, there's nothing going to happen. We've been there for 4 or 5 hours, nothing. Then I had all my gear sitting on the table, so if anything did happen, I could just hit the buttons and record it. But then the howl, it just started. It was, and I thought it was only 2, but it was like a howl, and then just as it kind of finished, it started again. Just as it finished, it started again. And the recording that we got of the first one wasn't on using a parabolic, which enhances it anyway, but, you know, you can make it so you can hear clearly. It was actually on the sound recorder that I had. It was actually on this sound recorder, the Philips one. I just had it across the creek, and I went across the creek, so it was very cold, that creek. And I just sat it on top of the trail cam. So I basically tagged the trail cam, but the only problem with that is the trail cam was set to take photos every 30 seconds or something I had. So you hear the click of this, of you know, the trail camera. So I won't set it on top of that again, but it had all the noises in between those clicks. Anyway, I just had to go through it, and basically there was the spike on WavePad wasn't even that big. It was just like a little dot you're done with a pen. That was the spike of the howl. And anyway, what we did was I took it off, and then we checked it out. Yeah, and then, you know, other than the first one, I had 4 more howls, and then, yeah, we could hear it, but the dish wasn't picking it up as good. But you could hear it. It was actually started off near us, and all this section near us is like the other side of the creek, and it's just all ridge, right? You know, very little flat area, like I said, and a lot of places there's no flat area. It's just a creek, and it just goes straight up, and it's really high, a couple of 100 meters high. So when it happened, Adam and myself, he had put his parabolic dish down, so I just switched mine on, and we just stood there for the next 45, 50 minutes, just had it constantly on. and we got the howls, but they were apart by the first howl to the second one was maybe 5 minutes, and the second to the third one was another 10, you know, and it kept getting away further and further. You could hear it was going away. This is while my wife has got all the wood. She's chucked all the wood on the fire. She's stoking it. She's freaking out. She's squeezing my hand. My fingers are nearly breaking. Well, you know, I'm going, babe, I'm trying to record here. And I'm thinking, oh, this is awesome. You just don't get that. Anyway, what happened was next was the people that were camping down the end of the campground, they got up, and they'd been asleep maybe for an hour or two. They got out and they put the fire on. Anyway, they said they heard something walking around, because we told them the next morning that, you know, this is what we do, Yowie researching. And basically they put the fire on because they heard the howl, scared the crap out of them. And I said, what do you reckon it sounded like? And they said it didn't sound like a dog. And that's what the first thing we looked at each other. We went, that's not a dog. There's no way. Hasn't got that dog howl to it. I said, it's not a dingo. I said, where's a person going to get in there to that area to do that? And who's going to do that at 11:30 at night when it's really cold? You're not near a fire. If you haven't got these thermals on, it's really cold because the fog was still coming in. And then they said this next morning they heard something walking around. So we as we walked out the next day, there was a part in between the grass where the grass had all been, you know, something had walked through it and been walking around. And I said maybe it come across that other side of the creek and walked up here and then walked down where there's the part of the trail where you can drive cars down there. The national parks do that to go and clean the toilet out and all that kind of stuff. But they lock the gate, so you got to hike in from, you know, 3.5 k's away. But we videotaped that. It was like muddy prints on top of the grass where where it'd been something we'd been walking. And we talked to that couple, and they were pretty freaked out. And I said, look, you know, you've heard something that I never heard anyone record in that amount of howls before, or that at all. I've never heard anyone post howls like that. So I sent the calls to Rusty, who does his own YouTube channel, as you know, and he's picking up things on it that he can't pick up on canine howls. So I'm just asking him to explain what the differences are on the AYR Yowie forum site, and hopefully comes up that, you know, it's not from a dog, it's not, you know, not from a person, and it's unknown howl or something. I don't know how you're going to pick it up, but it sounds very very weird, mate. Like
well, I've recorded dingo howls or dog howls 4 or 5, 6 times at varying distances. And you know, somebody actually mentioned on the AYR forum there that comparing dingo howls is a bit like comparing human singers. You know, they all have their own little tone and all that sort of thing to it. But listening to your recordings, I agree with you, mate. I don't think it's a dog, and that's backed up by Rusty's work on the computer and working out that the difference between the dog howls that he's recorded in the past and this recording is that he can work out on the software that this call has 3 octaves. It's the sound travels through 3 octaves, and that doesn't happen with the dogs. So I don't know where that leaves you with this recording with that information, but you know, something's different about that recording to a dog howl.
Yeah, because when I put a comparison one on just for my group to kind of, you know, say this is what I recorded, this is a wild dog one, and this is a dingo. But the dog one, it's kind of the same, but then right near the end, the dog can't sustain that you know, chesty howl. It starts wavering at the end. It starts to get to that dog noise. No, it's where the one that we recorded, it just had that fluent ooh, and then it went down, and then ooh, and then it just did the same thing. Where the dog ones, they kind of, the pitch gets different during the howl. It gets from high to low or low to high. You know, when they get near the end and the oxygen's out of their lungs and it starts wavering a bit. But this one was just strong through the whole howl, and then, you know, come from something with a decent sized chest. So yeah, so if how many times have you heard howls like you've recorded down in your way?
Well, in 7 years, I've probably recorded them, like I said, 5 or 6 times where I've, you know, paid attention to the recording and said, well, that's the dogs in the distance. But I've only ever seen one wild dog in that 7 years. So, and I've travelled quite a few kilometres around the place over that time, and spent, you know, thousands of hours out in the bush. And yeah, I've come across one dog. But funnily enough, I do think it was a purebred dingo, the one I saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard any dog howls in the Blue Mountains or dingo howls or wild dogs at all. Like in the national parks, like around up, you know, that area, it'd just be, you know, dogs that people own. I think the national parks, because they do have a lot of scouts and that go in the areas, young kids, they don't want wild dogs running around. So if there is any, I think they do hunt them down. And yeah, so Adam's just trying to get into the area. I'm just trying to see if I can get him in. He said he can't find it. I've sent the link, but he's under a different name on there. See if I can find him. Yeah, so just give me a second.
Yeah.
Here it is. All right, I'll send him a link. Hopefully he's going to join. So yeah,
but I find it hard to. I'd find it hard to believe there'd be no dingoes in the mountains. You know, there might be a bit of interbreeding going on, but yeah, too big an area not to have wild dogs.
Yeah, well, I think they might be in certain areas where, you know, it's hard to get to. I've never seen dog tracks, you know, in a lot of places I've been to, like the popular tracks. I mean, you know, certain areas where, you know, it's hard to get to. I've never seen dog tracks, you know, in a lot of places I've been to, like the popular tracks. I mean, I think he's just in. I'll just read.
You might have to unmute him.
Yeah, I know. I just, because it was. Can you hear us, Adam? Can you hear us, Adam? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys.
Yeah, cool. All right. It just,
G'day, Adam. I can hear you pretty well too, mate.
It was just what I said was coming back.
You muted yourself now.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll just talk.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
all
I can hear you good too, mate.
I can hear you pretty well
Yeah.
too, mate. It's just what I said was coming back.
You muted yourself now.
Yeah, it's all good.
There's a bit of a delay.
Yeah,
I can hear you now.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
all
I can hear you good too, mate.
I can hear you pretty well
Yeah.
too, mate. It's just what I said was coming back.
You muted yourself now.
Yeah, it's all good. Stop talking, everyone.
There's a bit of a delay. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
all
I can hear you.
Okay. How's this?
Yeah, that's better.
Now I
Yeah,
can't hear
that's
anything.
I don't know. We're okay, but there seems to be a delay when we talk to you. It's coming back. Try headphones. anyway, what we're talking about, Adam, was, you know, the howls. If you want to talk about the howls at Mera Mera.
Yeah. Just what I said was coming back. You muted yourself now. I can't hear anything. What's going on?
You want to
Log out and log back in again, maybe.
yeah, log back in. Are you all good now, Adam? It's weird that I had troubles when I couldn't see. Well, I did a test one because we haven't done this for a while, and
what's going on?
And basically I had to reconfigure the video link. So, can you hear us, Adam?
Yeah, cool.
I can hear you. What else? Yeah, well, like I said, I asked Rusty about the to explain about the octaves and all that on the AYR forum, so he'll get back and write, you know, what he usually does. Try headphones. Headphones might work because Dave put headphones in, like the earphones, and they actually work better. Can you hear now? It usually works pretty good, but there's always some sort of problem. No, you can't hear anything. Okay. We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Because I can't hear anything.
Log out, log back in.
So, I might exit and see if I come back in and see if that works.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Adam would be good because Adam was there. He'll tell you what he thought he heard. You know, basically, like when the house started, we were just like looking at each other and our eyes popped out and we're like, you know, quick, get the gear. And we didn't know if we were going to get any more. And it just kept happening, and I'm all like, oh, cool. And at first I thought it was getting closer, but then no, it went away. So, yeah, I was going to go there again tonight, but even though it hasn't rained a bit, I don't want to get out there and then it starts raining. You can't hear anything. If you can't hear anything really that good, it's just, you know, no use going out there. So,
well, I'm taking a break from putting out remote recorders, mate.
Yeah.
Because I think the only way to do sound recordings nowadays is with a parabolic, because you're there with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can see what the other circumstances are that are happening around at the particular time, and you can gauge it from a human.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Adam's come back in.
Oh, good.
Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully, he gets it fixed. It's nothing worse than having a problem. Oh, I'm just going to get
I've got the camera up, but I still have no sound.
I don't know how to help you.
Still can't hear anything.
But you can hear us before.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Dave can hear me. Dan? Yep, you can.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Just wait. All right. What we'll do? We're gonna have to. I'll ask.
Wait, Dan's saying wait.
I asked him a question about, let's talk about howls, what you heard when it started.
No, I've got no test sound, nothing.
I'm just going to get the parabolic to show.
No. No, nothing.
So what I got is basically that's the dish, and you can see it's had a few dings, so I've had to tape it up, but it's all good. I'll fix it up better later. But what we do,
they're not the handiest thing to carry through the bush, are they?
They keep getting caught, and but what happened when you pack it in your backpack, because it gets stuck in there. I think I dropped it, or it got squished on something and it broke, but it had a little bit of a crack in it, and these are just plastic. You can probably get replacements or make something up. You know, you can put a empty ice cream dish and have it stuck there, as long as it's getting sound drawn into this part. This part. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So basically, we've put Velcro. On here. They stick on there, and then you got your headphones, and you can see, you can hear everything that's happening. So what you're recording at the time, you get it on your headphones. And I basically just leave it running, and I'll press like pause, so the light will be flashing, and then when anything you think is happening, you just press the button straight away, click the little one, and then we've been putting elastic bands on there to keep the button down. So when you put elastic bands there, it's on constantly. So you just hold it. You don't have to keep your finger on the trigger. So that's all. And
I think they are the way forward in research, mate. Like I said, I've been putting remote recorders out into the bush and running them for 7 days at a time, 24 hours a day, for a few years now. And I've gotten recordings that I'm convinced are what we're looking for. Yeah. And, you know, walking, running, and all this sort of thing. But because you're not there to experience what's happening at the particular time, all you're getting is an audio representation of what happened. Yeah. Whenever you display that evidence, everyone turns around. The first thing, you know, you'll get your skeptics that first up, oh, it's wallabies. Yeah. You know, it's wallabies. Even though you can, it doesn't fit a wallaby's patterns. But with when you're there on the spot and you've got the headphones on and you're recording and you're pointing at an area that and hearing stuff that
I can't hear anything. This is bullcrap.
And you're hearing stuff that you that you wouldn't hear with your own ears if you didn't have the parabolic microphone.
Because with this microphone, we've on here, and this is pretty much the bottom of the range of a parabolic dish. You're getting ones you can pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for. These are going for like average $40 on eBay. But you're still hearing something 100 meters away. You can hear a cricket 100 meters away that you cannot hear with your ears. When I first saw it, I thought, it looks a bit dodgy. They're so good. It's unbelievable. I'm just going to mute Adam for a sec because we're getting his. Oh, he's out anyway. Yeah, so you can hear, like you said, you can hear things that far away, a little cricket, or you can hear like a little rat or something, bush mouse run around. So, and it does, you know, make them howls. We caught 4 of them howls, which I did put on my Australian Yowie Facebook, YouTube page, and you can hear them pretty good. One of them, unfortunately, I was just moving around to get a better position to stand because I would like to have the bush as clear as possible in front of me so no sound gets distorted, and you can hear while it's howling, you can hear, you know, even the slightest noise, like even if you're just got you know, the cord rubs up against the side or something, it's like, or you move your hands. You've got to have everything still. You just got to be like Statue of Liberty. And if someone walks around behind you, 5 meters away, 10 meters away, you're hearing that noise. So everyone has to be still. So that's why sometimes it's good to have a small group, maybe 2 or 3 of you, and you spread apart like as far as you can, 20 meters away. So if someone moves, you know, they're not, more than likely you're not going to pick them up on this like that strong. You're still going to get that noise, and then you just kind of like, you know, say to, quick, stop, something's happening. And then, because it's when you haven't got it, you just got to stand there. So what I do, I just put my chair down and I just sit there and I just be as still as I can, you know, try to keep my breathing low, because you can even hear the person breathing with them. And if they're the bottom of the range, you know, what can you pick up with the, you know, middle of the range to the top? You know, you could probably pick things up a lot clearer. So I'm going to have a look into updating it with a better parabolic. So, but they do the job. They did the job really well. And it's funny because since Adam, and I used Adam's because he was the first one to get one, and I bought one. And then when we all went to like Sassafras, Scott's got one now, and Sean's got one now, and I think one of the other boys has bought one. So everyone's got one. I said, you know, you can't go wrong. If you just want to listen to things and not record, you can just don't put the sound recorder on it. But if you want to record everything, and it's so easy, we just, you know, Velcro on it, just a few elastic bands, press it on, pull the trigger, point it, and there it is. But yeah, like I said, we're going to go back, but the weather, you just can't trust it. And one of the boys who wanted to come up, he's going to come up from Wagga, and I didn't want him to come up, and it was just going to be a terrible night and all that wasted time. It's, you know, 5-6 hour drive. So anyway, looks like Adam's having too much trouble to get back in, unfortunately, because I want him to come in because he was there when I was there, you know. And like I said, everything was quiet. It was just dead quiet. It wasn't in crickets. You couldn't even hear it with that. You couldn't hear nothing with the dish. The odd time you'd hear a little break or something, you knew it wasn't that loud. It wasn't like the week before. They were all there. You could hear things running around. And me and Roger were just like, if someone had the headphones on, they were just like going like, yes, I've got something, you know. That was really out of the ordinary. Anyway, yeah, so there was only 5 people in the campground, and the other couple were 100 meters away. Campground's probably 100
So what
meters.
did they actually say in the morning?
So what happened was, I got up early in the morning because I had to get there when the tide was low so I could get across the other side. And, you know, I went over there just with shorts on and a shirt, and it was freezing cold. So I collected all that, come back, and then he got over the couple. He was coming back over, and I said to him, I said, oh, did you guys get scared last night with those howls? And he said, oh, yeah. He goes, man,
there we go. I fixed the problem.
Oh, good.
So we're freaking out. So we're just talking about when we started talking to Kurt, the guy that was down there with his missus at the Mera Mera. And he basically said that, look, I said, what do you reckon they sounded like? He said, no, they weren't dogs. He goes, him and his missus go, they weren't dogs. That's why we freaked out. Because we knew that wasn't dogs. We're like, what is it? And he kind of said, like, you know, he wanted to say a Yowie, but he didn't know what we were there for. We said, oh, yeah, we're researching them. And then he just went, oh, yeah, that's got to be a Yowie for sure. I've been looking that stuff up. So anyway, Adam, you explain about, you know, when the howls started, you know, give your point of view of what you heard. And
well, we were all literally just about to go to bed. We were like, oh, nothing's happening, you know. It's like around 11 or something. And we're literally just saying, oh, I'm going to go get in our onesies and, you know, get ready to settle down or whatever for the night. And then straight away, just the, ooh, it was like a siren, like a, you know, it was definitely not a dog. No way. Dogs, they have an alternating pitch when they do the howl. They start out at one frequency and they go to a different frequency in the middle, and then they change to a different frequency at the end. Dogs have like a different change in pitch. This was very consistent. It was like almost like a person doing it. You know, at first, that was my first thought. I was asking, because it was coming from the general direction of that other couple, and my first thought, rationale, you know, you try to rationalize anything. I'm thinking, is that her in her sleep from the next camp? But when they're using the parabolics, you could tell it was like 5-10 degrees different angle from their tent. Their tent was over here, and it was coming from over there, and it was coming from further away anyway. But that was my first rationale. Was is it that lady in the tent, in a sleep or something? And then the guy got up, and and it kept going, and he's stoking the fire in that, and we knew it wasn't her, because we could see that they were totally freaked out by it and everything. And Eunice was freaking out. She's stoking the fire too.
They were actually getting torches and up into the bush. That's when they said
yeah, he had his torch and he's looking in the bush because he could hear also some tree breaks and the trees like cracking and leaves and small sticks and stuff. We could hear it because it backed around over near the campsite a bit closer. It must have, because you can see its footprints. I think were after it came and checked out his tent, possibly the muddy footprints we found.
Yeah, they go away.
Yeah, it was on its way getting out of there. Is it
across the tide would have just filled in all the footprints. So
yeah.
Anyway,
but, it definitely wasn't a dog's howl. I've heard the wild dogs and that all the time, and it's just they're very distinct wild dogs, dingoes and stuff like that. This was like so spooky, surreal. It was like a straight out of a horror movie with the siren, like as if somebody was putting it on, but there was nobody else there. There's no one else there.
It was so loud. The first one was so loud. It
didn't even need the parabolics, nothing. We just had them on to try and document it, record it.
So
but it was incredible. How many actual howls did we get?
There was 5 or 6. Yeah. And then
it was awesome.
But it was really spooky. It was over a period of time. It was a gap between each howl. It wasn't like it howled.
Yeah.
Stopped, howled. It was howled.
It waited. It was like it was waiting for a reply. Didn't get a reply. Did another one. It was like within this time period, then another time period, another. It was very organized. It was like it was a very distinct pattern to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just
because if it was dogs, they would have just kept howling and howling and howling and.
Well, the dogs, they do it when they do it. They normally do it after they've got a kill. It's like part of their behavior. It's a normal behavior for dogs. Once they get a kill, they celebrate the kill and they do this totally different. This was very smooth, very distinct.
But it was strong all the way through it. Like it didn't waver at all. Didn't go to a higher pitch. It just
didn't change frequency. Was it the same frequency?
Sounded like something big chested. Like there was a lot of force coming out. It didn't sound like a dog. And I've been listening to wild dog howls on YouTube. People have had different ones, and they all kind of, when the lungs are starting to get empty, they start having that different pitch. And
it alternates. This didn't alternate. It was very smooth, very consistent, and every single one was almost identical. Except for the volume, because I think it was either moving away or turning away from us. So that was the only thing that was different. But the actual frequency and the duration and everything was very, very similar. It was just doing this one call over and over and over again. It was the only thing I've heard like this is in American Sasquatch or Bigfoot videos where they've recorded the Sasquatch doing the exact same thing. And you can hear, I've even heard videos where there was wild dogs in the same video as the Sasquatch doing this kind of howl, and there's no comparison. They're totally two distinctive, different kind of sounds. You could run these sounds, these howls by any wildlife research. That actually, like Gary Alpert and stuff like this, and see what they say. But I'm pretty sure that they would concur that it's not wild dogs.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like dogs. Even just before anything else, there's a guy that's been commenting on my Australian Yowie channel where I'm putting all this stuff on YouTube, and he's actually, I think he lives in that area. He said he's heard some dog howls, but he said these ones definitely sound different to them dog howls. He goes, they're definitely, he goes, I'm 95% sure that they're not a dog. So anyway, there's someone else out there that's had experience in that same area. So no, it'd be good to go back again. Just got to get conditions right. But I want to check out, like we were discussing before, Adam, about when me and Roger first went there, why was there so much action, and then this time there was nothing until that howl? So was it the moon, or was it because of the high tide, or because it was warmer?
I do know that animals do have like they call the hunter's moon. Is at certain times of the month when it's certain moons and certain weather and certain seasons, the different animals hunt, and there's like a feeding frenzy kind of thing. So that so it does happen that at certain times of the month, at certain times of the year, animals do feed more often at that time. Like it's easier hunting, or there's more food, like, you know, it's especially with sea life and freshwater fish and saltwater fish and everything. At certain times of the year, at certain moons, there's feeding frenzies. There's more food, more, you know. So yeah, but there was, I didn't think there was any real activity in the area until we got that howl, that whooping, or whatever you want to call it. So, I don't know what you'll call it, Dan.
Well, yeah, well, the howl, you know, like I've never heard anything like it before. Like, you know, going out, I've only got tree breaks and etc. But the last time we went out, me and Roger, we had short little vocals, like ooh, you know, oh, just short ones like that, for the last 2 seconds, 3 seconds max. And we're like, oh, you know, trying to work out, was that a vocal? But we just got them. But some were like, you know, that night bird that goes, whoa. You ever heard that one? Makes that weird, like it's shaking its head while it's making a noise. That was like making heaps of noise the first week we went there. But this last time we went there, when you came, Adam, I never heard that bird at all. So the first time we had the fish jumping out of the creek. Anyway, yeah, fish jumping out of the creek. They were just going crazy. And then we had basically all the foxes were screaming, making noises. That we had that noise, bird making noises. Then we had all these tree breaks and things running around. It was going crazy. But this time it seems to be there was nothing, and then all of a sudden we got them howls.
It was very quiet. There was almost no animal activity at all. You know, there was the odd bird here or there. I had actual visual encounters and encounters with a few different birds throughout the trip, but this was something else. It was a distinct call. It seemed like it was calling, waiting for a response, calling, waiting for a response, calling, waiting for a response. It was just, it's like it was searching. It's the same thing as if we were going into a valley and we're looking for our mates at a different campsite and we're doing the coo-wee. It was almost the same kind of thing, but it sounded like it was lost. And that was my distinct impression, is that it was looking for its group and it was lost. You know, same thing as if we were coming into a valley looking for our mates.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, which valley are they in, you know? Because there was nothing in the valley until that came. And
yeah, it was dead quiet. I'm just trying to get Simon wants to come in. I'm just letting him know. I just gave him the link.
I'm so impressed. It's so rare to get a vocalization from an Australian Yowie. Like I've heard, you know, heaps of them from America, from Bigfoot and Sasquatch, but this is I've never heard from an Australian. All we get is these other kind of like little whoops or grunts, like the growl up at Wattigan's when it growled at Dan and I. Growled at Dan and then growled at me. So
yeah, you didn't believe me till it come up and growled at you and going.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't believe you. I said, "Are you sure?" Like, you know, like.
Yeah, and then not long after that,
you were sure.
Mate, I've got myself on mute, boys. Because I'm in the airport.
Are you at the airport?
Yeah, Brizzy Airport. I'm flying back to Sydney now.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell us about what you did on the weekend up in Queensland?
Definitely, yeah. We went out into Glasshouse Mountain and Beerwah State Forest on Friday night. Met up with a couple of Queensland blokes that I know, and one guy, Nigel Francis, didn't actually. He was a no-show. We got home late from work, but it was an interesting night. You know, we had a few. We didn't have any close encounters, but we were doing a couple of calls, and we had a really. I've got the audio of it, and I've got to get home and get it off my recorder and have a listen. But it was a really loud scream in reply to one of our whoops we did.
Yeah.
Didn't really get any responses to the. We tried some knocks and some rock clacking. Found a lot of wild dog footprints, a couple of suspect footprints in some sand, but we actually found this really, really strange footprint, and I've got a photo of it all on my other device, but it's like 4 clawed toes that are really spread out apart, and the print was huge. If you think of something the size of your hand and you spread your fingers out, all it was 4 claw marks in the ground where your fingers would be if you spread it out. So we don't know what the hell that was. Yeah, like that, Dan, but you think those four, like a little claw mark about an inch long at the end of each finger is all it left with a little bit of a toe impression.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell left that behind, but we were thinking maybe a roo, but it would have to be a bloody big roo to leave a print that big, because it's enormous.
That's interesting. It'd be good to see the picture. Yeah, post them up when you.
I'll post them up on the website when I get back tonight. So
all good.
But yeah, other than that, it's certainly, mate. We could see a lot of activity. There was a lot of breaks in there. There was a lot of tree bends. You know, wandering around the forest. The pine forests up there are so much more sparsed out than ours are. It's you know, like there's probably a good 15 feet between the pine trees, and they're all planted in rows. So you can actually, if you get at the right angle, you can see really, really deep into the forest because they keep all in rows. But in saying that, you know, if anything's hiding behind trees, it'd be really easy for something to hide behind trees and use those rows of trees as cover. So, but yeah, it's a lot different to our pine forests up here, man. I'd love to go up there and spend a bit more time in there in daytime and go for a walk through them because and see if there's any structures and that down deep inside these forests.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. So how was the weather? Was it warm or cold or rainy?
Oh man, that was the best part, Dan. All these Queenslanders around going, shit, it's cold, and I'm out there I was in my Bigfoot Outlaws t-shirt and a pair of microfiber cargo pants. Yeah. And I was warm as toast, mate. I was in a t-shirt till 3 a.m. in the morning, and they were all complaining it was chilly and they were wearing like sloppy Joes. But man, I'll tell you what, if we had winter weather like that down in Sydney, I'd be out on weekends a hell of a lot more. That was really pleasant.
Oh, you
can try us down here at -5.
Oh, forget that. But you know, one interesting thing where we did get a little bit of activity, once again, was right under high volt power lines.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see a bit of a common theme on that.
Well, saying that, Simon, where the howl, even Adam, where the howl came from, that's where the power lines cross.
There's high tension wires there, yeah.
Yeah, it's mate. That's we were maybe they can detect the EMF field from them and use them for or maybe they use them for traversing as their corridor, like because it's all usually cleared under there.
Yeah,
and it's also they also know where it goes. It's like a trail for them to follow.
Yeah, no one usually uses them only when they're going to do fix something that's wrong with them. So you don't really follow them, but yeah, that's interesting. A lot of people have said that, or they follow the water pipelines.
Yep.
Up at like Wollongong Way or something. There's water pipes there where they've been found walking along them and stuff. People have seen them there. So when you
anything that gives them cover, I suppose.
Yeah. So you're getting back this afternoon? Okay.
Yep.
At least the flight's not that long. It's only about an hour from Brisbane.
Yeah. You guys aren't still going down to Mera Mera today? You've called that off because of the weather, I presume?
Yeah, called it off. Basically,
heavy rainstorms.
Yeah, Scott wanted to come up from Wagga, and I said, for all that effort to come up, I said, I can't guarantee you it's not going to rain and be like a bad night,
Yeah.
So I said, we'll wait till, better weather. Because we've had good weather here for winter time. It's only this last week or so that it started raining.
We had good weather when we went out. When we recorded.
It rained for what, 5-10 minutes?
And it wasn't even, it was nothing, it was spitting.
Yeah, it was spitting, it was just a mist. And, we were thinking, we should have brought more wet weather gear, and then it stopped, and then it cleared up. That was good. But,
well, mate, it was a full moon too, though. I think that was one of the reasons why we didn't get as much activity. I always find on full moons why it's easy to see. I think they're, you know, they certainly don't see it as advantageous to be out hunting in a full moon, because they're, you know, any nocturnal animal could probably clearly see them. They could obviously clearly see us, and I just don't think they were interested, you know, in coming in close. So we tried for 5 hours, mate. So,
what gear do the other guys up there using? Are they using the?
Oh, they had nothing, mate. They had enough. They didn't even. They were blown away by using my parabolic mic, and they're both going to go out and buy them now. So I showed them how to get their sound recorder rigged up to it, like get the recorder onto it, and the thermal blew them away as well. We did. Actually, the thermal was really good because there was some really long stretches there. Yeah. And even though it says it's 550 metres to see a human object, mate, we were picking up cars over 1 kilometre away on it. We could see, they come over the hill and you'd see them glow white from a K away. So it's, yeah, it was pretty impressive. But there's one thing I noticed in the forest we were in, there was the lack of, like, when we go around the mountains, man, we hear roos, we see possums, we see heaps of animals around at night. But there was a real distinct, other than the odd bird calling, a real distinct lack of, like, kangaroos, wallabies. I didn't see any night, you know, I looked up in a lot of trees, couldn't see any night creatures there. But so I'm wondering, you know, what they're actually eating. The guys said there's feral pigs up there. There's wild horses in this forest. So we heard some at some stage, when we did a couple of calls on the parabolic, you could hear something huge, like walking through the forest. Yep. But I don't think it was a hairy fella. I think it was actually a wild brumby, because it was, whatever it was absolutely massive. Like the stomping that it did. We actually did one, and we could hear the stomping coming towards us, and then it went off in another direction. And so I did another call, and then it turned and started coming back towards us. But mate, there's no way it was a hairy guy, man. It was definitely a horse. It was just too loud.
Did you camp out there, or did you just go out for the night?
No, I just went out for the night, just walked around the forest. Drove to the spot, parked the car, got home at about 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay. It was all night. Oh, it was good.
Yeah,
I
was pretty tired.
The forest that you were in, the night vision would have worked really good, because, like you're saying, you can see along the corridors really long.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's well suited for that area.
Mate, I could see right down in there, and we could see, you know, we couldn't see anything. We investigated a few white blotches that, you know, we could see down in there, and walked in case it was something crouching down low, but they ended up being a rock that had just absorbed a bit of heat during the day, and it was still reflecting that heat back out at night.
Yeah, and it's been warmer up there, so it would take a long time before it cool off. So.
Oh, man, it's lovely, you know, going out at night and 21 degrees or something or other it was, walking around the forest at night. Yeah, and they were all complaining it was cold.
Oh, well, that's a Queenslander for you. They complaining they got beat in the state of origin, so anyway.
Well, what we've been doing is we made a little modification with the parabolics and the sound recorder, because we kept missing out on stuff. Like the only reason we missed out on the first call with the parabolics, we got it on the other sound recorder that was permanent. But because we kept missing out on stuff, what we've done is now we put rubber bands over the trigger, so that we're basically permanently recording with the parabolics.
Ah, cool.
So I just got the rubber bands on. You can see that they're just holding down the trigger, and I take them off when I want to, so I don't flatten the battery if I want to stop using it. But yeah, so it's constantly recording, and all I'm doing is just pointing in the direction I want, or I'm just leave it hanging like I've got the shoulder strap, and I just leave it on and just leave it hanging there, and point it in the general direction of where it wanted to go. But it's constantly recording now, because this way we're picking up so much more stuff, and we're not missing out on things. So it's just a little tip of modification that we made.
Yeah, on my recorder, Adam, I put mine onto voice activated. So when I flick it on to record, and when I pull the trigger in, it automatically starts recording, because it's got a sound feed coming through then. And then about 3 seconds after I unpull the trigger, like let the trigger out, it stops recording. But what it does is it saves it all as one audio file. It doesn't keep saving a separate file for every time you click on record.
Yeah, well, I just keep it mine, so it's on pause, and then when something happens, you just press the button real quick, and it records and keeps it all on the same audio. So it's whatever you want to do anyway. It's, you know, whatever you think's best and what results you're getting from it. But no, so the guys up Queensland like the the parabolic state.
Oh, mate, Laurie Prio was with us. He's one of the guys that runs the Sunshine Coast Facebook page.
Yeah.
And Laurie was blown away by it. He said, man, and he could hear, like, we could hear things walking through the forest, you know, the usual stuff, but it's hard to determine sometimes whether or not it's just something creeping and crawling through that's close to you, or whether it's something a little bit further away. But there was probably only a couple of times where we got definitive, like, bipedal footsteps. And the really heavy ones, I still reckon they were horses. I mean, the guy that I was with, Dallas Smith, Dallas spends a lot of time in that forest, and he reckons there's at least 10 brumbies living in Beerwah State Forest, and he's got photographs of them, so he knows they're there. But mate, I wouldn't want to run into one of them when you're walking through the bush, geez, in the middle of the night.
No, they can get quite dangerous, mate, especially if it's breeding season.
Well, we get cattle when we go over the Bilpin side. A lot of people don't realise there's wild cattle in the bush over the Bilpin side of the mountains.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah,
they've just escaped and they wander around the bush there. They've spread around, and they, more often than not, I think they probably eventually get taken by something. But it was years ago. We were down in the Patterson's Ridge Fire Trail. We weren't far from there, and we heard something big and crashing through the bush, and a friggin' cow came out. We're like, all right, okay.
There's cows here. Oh. Anyway, it's good to see you had a good time up there. And are you going to be venturing up there again anytime soon, or is this just kind of a one-off for the moment?
Oh no, my mum's in residential care up here now, so I actually came up for a hearing on Friday, and I've now been appointed her financial administrator by the Queensland government. So I've got to come up here and check on her quite regularly. And as I said to the guys, I'll make sure I come up on Fridays to do my business, and then we can go on a hunt on the weekends.
Oh, cool.
And research on the weekends. But I intend to meet, I wouldn't mind seeing one of the Queensland ones. There's a couple of guys up here that I wouldn't mind knowing. But, it was good to get up here because we actually had a chat to Laurie and that about a few individuals that do research work up here, and told him a few home truths about them. And he won't sort of associate with a few. And we're really keen to go actually into Jason H's backyard and get some good evidence and show him up and show that there's actually real evidence in his backyard. Okay. I don't know if did I send that photo did I post that photo up in our group of the photo they got of him, of his sidekick putting on Yowie feet?
No.
On my phone, man. Can I post the photo up in this group now? In
the
chat? How do I do that?
Yeah.
Just go to photo, press photo. No, that's reverse the camera now.
You gotta go to screen share.
Screen share. It's all right.
Yeah, it's like a green on the left-hand side of the screen. It's got the green screen.
The green box with the white arrow.
Here we go. Send a message. Here we go. Would like to access my photos. Cool. Here we go. I've got it now. Right, where are we? Where's this photo of Jason H and his mate?
So what area does he go in? Because I don't.
Up in the same forest, mate. Glasshouse Mountain and all around that area. Beerwah. He's from Caloundra.
Seems like there's a few people going in that area, so it must be pretty much a hot spot up there.
There you go. I joined a there's a Facebook group, Dan, which you might be interested in joining. It's actually called the Australian Yowie Hoaxes group, and this guy, James Hocking, outs all of the people doing all the hoaxing.
Yeah.
So fortunately, you all be pleased to know none of you guys feature on the page.
Oh, good.
It's really funny. No, it's really funny because you can see that both of those Jason guys used to be a member of the group, and then sometime around 2014, they all turned on them, and they got removed from the group. And it was since then they've been bagging on them, but that's where I found the photo. I've just posted that photo up, guys, so it should be up there in the chat if you want to have a look at it.
You got to screen share it, otherwise we can't see it.
And I definitely know it's his sidekick because on his YouTube videos I've seen the same guy. Oh, it's on the messages. I've sent it to the messages. So if you back out to the messages, it's in the messages there in the chat.
Yeah, I've gone to the messages. I can't. It's not there. It just says you've joined the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a picture from Alan Hentages that says Jason Hill's new sidekick putting on fake Yowie feet, and they're sort of white feet.
No, you'd have to put
Anyway.
press screen share and put it on your phone, on the actual screen.
Yeah, you got to go through screen share, otherwise we can't see it.
Oh, all right. Well, how do I do? Bloody hell.
It's a green box with a white arrow.
All right, hold on. Let me go back to the
monitor.
Let me go back to the
Yeah.
call.
Yeah, Jason H, he keeps coming back up, you know, like, what was he I heard that he supposedly, to the other Jason, he ripped off money off him or stole something from him.
No, he ripped off all the gear, mate. He took over the running. He took the YouTube channel, the Yowie Research one, and he took all of his gear as well. That pretty much, I believe, Jason Tickman had spent most of the money on, and now they research separately.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Something.
And the really good part is though, is if you go to his YouTube channel now, mate, he averages only about maybe 150 views a video.
And with 38,000 subscribers,
yeah, that's exactly.
That's got to make you wonder, doesn't it?
Everyone knows he's a shonky bastard now. That's pretty much it. I think the jury's out, and that's it.
38,000 bought ones. You can buy viewers for
it. 20 bucks. 20 bucks will buy you that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that one.
None of them watch your videos though.
Nah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, if you got 38,000 people, you know, like, you'd be getting, you know, thousands and thousands of hits on each video. But it seems to be, if people question any results, he just goes crazy at them. He just likes people that, oh yeah, this is a Yowie. If people say, no, it just looks like a pig. No, it's not a pig. What would you know? Rah rah rah. I get out in the bush all the time. I know. So, I don't know. You just get
the funny part is he's got him actually speaking English, and anybody that's done this for long enough knows that they don't speak English.
But his latest videos are anyone having coffee, something about having a coffee, and then one's saying something about Yowie, and then it's
and telling him to wash his face.
Yeah, but there's nothing else to it. There's only that before or after. There's no recording to say it was actually out there. He could have been sitting in his room saying that and did it 20 times and said, oh, yeah, I like this one the most. Now I'm going to put it up.
Yeah, well, the funny one's the other guy, Jason Tickman, mate. He's out in an area, and he's doing around the Clownge area too, but he's definitely getting activity. But he wouldn't know if one jumped up and bit him on the bum. And, mate, I've seen one of his videos where I swear the thing was probably only about 4 or 5 feet away from him. And he didn't even see it, and it was pointed out to him on one of his videos. And I reckon he's going to be the next one taken, because he goes in there on his own. He's as nervous as hell. Mate, he's sitting.
Can you get that picture up on the? Anyway, you can post it on the group.
I can't seem to find it. Yeah, I did put it into the chat. It is in the actual chat. So.
Yeah, but it doesn't come up. It just. I don't know if you can post pictures in the chat. That's all. There's no capabilities for it. That's why they got the screen share option. Anyway, so
yeah, right. I can't seem to find it. I'm on a Hangout app on my phone. So maybe there's a plus there. No, you're joining a new conversation. That one.
Yeah, but when you
so that's not it, Adam.
On the screen on the left-hand side, you got a chat box. You got the screen share, cameraman, and then the control room. You go to the screen share. It's a green screen. And then you click on that, then you find it. And then you click on the picture.
I think you've only got that on your PC, mate.
Yeah, I don't.
Unless there's.
Anyway, you can post
invitation stuff.
You can post it on the Blue Mountains group.
We can actually do that while we're talking, can't I?
And then screen share it.
And then Dan can screen share it. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Good idea. Where are we? Let's go to the Blue Mountains group.
I'm just going to get back onto the. Oh no, I'm already on it. But no, it's been while you're doing that, anyone want to talk about anything else that they've seen or heard, or anything that's
mate? Yeah, I don't know. I'm keen to get back out in the mountains. I haven't been up there in a few weeks, and what I'd like to do is actually going to do a 3-day camp somewhere. Because I find, you know, once you've been in there 3 days, usually on that 3rd night, you will get a lot of activity.
We all would like to do that, but it seems to be work. It doesn't.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of a long weekend or, you know, maybe we could all sync and take a week's holiday at some stage and go out on a weekday when there's less
Well, we
people
can
in
do
there.
that. We can do that in the future. We're just going to wait for the weather to be right, and hopefully when we do pick it, it's not too hot or too cold, and try and get somewhere where we just drive there and camp and then walk into areas at night and then, you know, get set up in that area.
It boils down to pure luck, Dan.
Yeah,
I set recorders now for 7 days, and I can actually get over 7 days out of a recorder, right? And the amount of times now that I've sat there and gone through 5 days of recordings and have absolutely nothing, and suddenly happen, or a series of things will suddenly happen on the 5th day or the 6th day.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're picking 3 days to go out of, even if you use that 7-day analogy, you're picking 3 days out of 7 and hoping something happens within that time.
Yeah. Well, that's all we can do. If we can only get that much time. I'd like to go out every weekend, you know. But
Yeah, my wife would be thrilled with that.
it's not possible.
It's up on the Facebook group now, Dan. There should be a post there for you to approve on the Facebook group.
I'll just yeah, here it is.
See the white feet? He's strapping on some white shoes.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'll just screen share that. In a sec.
Adam, do you seriously have to be dressed in camo for a chat?
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
There we go.
What a faker!
Yep. If you go to the Facebook page and you can you can see the photo up big then on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm on the Facebook. See the actual.
Yeah, it's like a white fake foot he's strapping on the bottom of his feet.
How do we know? How do we know that's heel? Because like you can't really see the picture.
No, the dude, that's not him. That's his sidekick. But I've seen, if you go to YouTube, there's another video there which has actually got his sidekick in the front, like in the thumbnail of the video, and watch the video, and you'll see it's the same dude.
Okay.
He's even wearing the same hat.
Oh, all right, all good. Yeah. Oh. Look, we all know he does that. We all know he does these hoaxing. So, you know,
That's bad.
yeah.
That's really bad.
And the worst thing was about like the Japanese crew come over here and they asked Dean, you know, could he come out to the Blue Mountains and show good spots for, you know, possible encounters or something while they're there. And he asked me, would you want to come out and just tell about what happened to you? And I said, yeah, no worries, we'll go out. Anyway, then he said to me, emailed me back, Dean emailed me that saying, yeah, they've got Jason Heel involved because they're not seeing a lot of people with channels on YouTube, and that's what, you know, they've seen him and they've asked him, and of course he said yes. And then he's actually made a video with them while they're out there, and you can hear like a bird make a call, like a night bird make a call, and he's going, oh, that's a howl. That's a vocalization from a Yowie. And I'm like, it's a freaking bird, you idiot. You know, you can hear it. And
Everything's a Yowie with them. Everything.
yeah. So anyway, everyone knows he fakes. So, you know, it's nothing new. You know, you see.
What does he hope to gain out of it?
Money. Pure and simple, mate. He's monetized his thing. He plays ads now. You want to watch one of his videos and you get an ad played to you.
Oh, okay.
Well,
You know, when you get...
I don't know. I don't watch his videos.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't.
But oh no, I'll always go and check out every now and then just to but if he gets an ad, I'll skip the ad, because if you actually watch the whole ad, they make more money than if you actually skip the ads.
Oh, okay.
So but then you've got to get, you know, and the only reason why he's done it is because he hit that 48,000 subscribers or whatever, And once you get up that, YouTube actually contact you and say, how would you like to make some advertising revenue off your that's sort of the way they play it.
Yeah, but he actually bought them because he went from having virtually not many, and then all of a sudden it was 38,000 overnight. Like, how do you get 38,000 subscribers overnight?
Quite easily, man. He has joined so many Facebook groups all over the world, and he throws his videos up there, and people link, and he sits in there and says, "Oh, watch the video and subscribe," and that's what people do. I had to remove him. You know how I'm the admin for the International Bigfoot and Dogman group, and I'm the admin for the Dogman Believers Only group. Well, he joined both of those groups, and one of my mods let him in the group, and I saw a post come through with one of his videos and immediately removed him from both the groups and put a message out to all of the mods and the other admins and said, guys, do not let this guy join our group by any... And he sent me a message. He goes, what's your fucking problem? And I said, you're a faker, man. Ours is a group for serious believers and researchers. You can get fucked. So, he doesn't like me.
He doesn't
but
like me.
I'm not going to support his shit, Dan.
No, it's fun. He's hung around so long, like he come out of nowhere and then he's just been faking from day one. It's not like he can stop. No, I'm not going to fake and I'm going to try and do it seriously. No one's going to believe you.
He has no credibility. None.
None.
Mate, Don Peake, a guy in America, Don Peake, he runs this wilderness adventure tours, and he's got a big Facebook group. And I saw a post come up one day, and it said, "Oh, I'm pleased to announce I've appointed an Australian representative of Don Peake Wilderness Adventure Tours. He's a Yowie Research down there, a guy by the name of Jason Neal." And I immediately sent Don a message, and I said, "Well done, mate." I said, "You've turned around and I said you've added the Todd Standing of Australian Yowie Research to as your Australian representative. You're really going to go far down here, mate. I just thought I'd let you know." And he dumped him straight away. And then he goes, "How would you like to be my representative?" I said, "No, thanks, mate. This bullshit. There's this mob in America called, sorry about the noise, but there's a mob in America called JRG, Bigfoot Research, and it's actually Will Jending. Have you guys ever heard of him? He's a well-known researcher in the States. He puts a lot of science behind it, but they've been hassling me to be their Australian director, and they seem to, in the end, I said to the guys, I said, you guys seem to be focused more on the structure of your group than you are on actually going out and doing fucking field research. So no thanks, guys. I'm, good luck to you, but I'm going to go out and do my thing.
Yeah. So good.
Oh mate, these Americans, they're trying to set up these big groups now, and these guys have got a fucking regional director in every state. And they've got teams in every state. This is what they always talk about. We've got investigation teams in every state. And it's like, but you never see, all your investigation work has to go up through Will, and then Will puts it into his report, and he takes the glory for all the work you do. That's what I worked it out anyway.
But it looks like they've got the way they set things up is like Moneymaker with his BFRO, where they have them all around the area, and then it all gets sent to the site, and then he posts it. Yeah, so
it's big business, mate.
Yeah, where we got just the Facebook groups, and whoever's in the group posts their findings, and it's for everyone to ask them the questions what happened. Because if Dave posts something but it comes under my name, everyone's going to ask me questions about it, and I wasn't even there. So how would I know? How could I answer questions when it's all Dave stuff or Adam stuff?
Yep.
So, the way we've got it set up, it's much more, it's better for everyone. Everyone knows who and what they're doing and what they're posting.
Yeah. Oh, looks like my flight's boarding, guys. I'm going to have to shoot off in a minute.
All right, Simon, thanks for...
They're calling the business class passengers anyway, so...
No,
that's not me.
We'll be waiting to call all the bums. All the bums, and Adam will get... sorry, Adam.
All right, well, take it easy, boys.
No worries,
so I was literally got to the airport, scrolled through Facebook, and went, oh, shit, I'll join that.
All right. I'll see you back when we go out next time.
Yeah, no worries. All right.
All right.
Take it easy. See yous.
Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. That was pretty cool. He spent a bit of time there. Anything else you guys want to go into? One thing, Dave. You said you get seven days with your sound recorder. What do you use for the power? So how do you set it up?
I just use an ordinary Sony note taker. I put in lithium batteries.
Yep.
AA lithium batteries, and then I also add a verbatim power pack and plug that into the side. And I've found that if you start the recorder, then put the power pack, that's exactly right, Adam. Sorry, Dan.
Dan.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I've got 2 of them here.
Yeah.
And this
But
one
they'll
actually
extend it.
Rusty uses, and I'll get 6. I don't get 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You got to insulate them. You got to use a neoprene. You got to use insulation, because otherwise the cold will sap the batteries overnight, and you won't get that long.
All right. 6 days.
But I've just been finding this battery brand. I can't remember the name of it, but I got it at Woolworths, and it was actually cheaper than the brand name lithiums.
Yeah.
And I've been coming back with the battery pack and the lithiums. I've been coming back 6-7 days later, and it's still showing battery. So
Okay.
I haven't actually left it till it's run out to find out how long it will run for.
Do you actually, like Dave, do you actually wrap, like Adam said, do you actually wrap your gear up in some
Like
sort
you
of,
use a stubby holder like Dan does. You know, he uses a king and a stubby holder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been out in the real cold weather this year since I've been out with you guys, really. Yeah, I've sort of changed my method of operation. Where I was going out and putting a camera out and a recorder out for 7 days and just leaving it out there and wash it, rinse and repeat. What I've found is that I know I can record them. I know that these are actual Yowie recordings that I've got. But I've gotten to the point now where every time I present these recordings, because it's a remote recording, I'm not actually there while the recording's happening.
Yep.
The feedback I'm getting of course, is, people turn around, immediately dismiss the recording and say wallabies, everything's a wallaby.
Yeah.
And so I've sort of scaled this consistently.
Is able to clarify whether something's a wallaby or not. He's got a really good methodology for checking the disparity, the differences between wallabies and bipedal.
Yeah, I work really closely with Rusty, mate. He's helped me out with all of these recordings, and it's one of the main reasons I know that they're Yowie recordings and not
because
native
the
animals.
difference is phenomenal, because he's done the work, and you can tell the difference, the weight of the individual, the stride length, even the frequency, the sound frequency is totally different from different animals and the bipedal.
Yes.
Yeah, he does a stride, but he's even the howls. Adam, if you've looked on the AYR group, he's actually done a post with the number of octaves in our howl that we recorded. He says there's like 3 in there, and he says dogs and that don't have that many. So I've asked him to explain, everything about that. So, because I'm not really, I know what octaves are, but I don't know about how many are in each animal.
Yeah, I know what he's saying. It's by the number of vocal cords, and different beings or creatures have different abilities, like bandwidth, so to speak.
Yeah.
They can go so many octaves, they can go so many frequencies or notes, and exactly like you're saying, dogs have a limited bandwidth, and people have a very wide bandwidth, like human beings or other similar creatures, considerably. But I'll read his post.
Yeah, that'd be good to see, because he actually posted that one about the octaves, and it shows his program, and it's how it's always orange with the lines, and it's got 3 octaves and that. So I just wrote underneath, just can you explain what this picture means and that, just to the group. So he explains things very well and very clear, so you can understand what and he's always happy to answer any questions and that. So I wish I'm just thinking now, I wish I sent him a message to get on here and explain about the about the octaves and all that, because he could explain things very well. So we might be able to do another Yowie chat and ask him to come on and talk about the howls and how he's come to the conclusions that he has. But
that's really good. Gives us some validation.
Yeah, but
we knew it. We knew it. We were there.
Yeah,
that's the point I'm trying to make, Adam. You know, it's a lot easier to substantiate the recordings when you're Johnny on the spot. You're there and you know what's going on around you.
Like example, Dan had a sound recorder set up. When we got there, he went across the river and set up a sound recorder and a trail cam. So that sound recorder was recording almost the whole time we were there, up until just before we left. Dan went across the river and got it back, you know, almost up to his waist.
Yeah, I saw the video.
It was nearly to the region where I was going to be singing in a high pitch.
So we had that one, and you know, if we weren't going to bed, we would have got the first howl as well on our parabolics. But soon as we had our parabolics there, but as soon as we heard the first one, Dan just missed it. Would you believe? He didn't have the finger on the trigger. That's why I use the rubber bands now, so the trigger's on all the time, so I don't miss things like that. But yeah, so we had the one sound recorder that was recorded permanently, and we had the two parabolics. So we had 3 different recorders. We were also using night vision devices. Dan had his night vision video camera. I had my night vision video camera, which we're looking and everything. During the day, we also use I use a Sony video camera and the like GoPro style camera and stuff. But you know, when you have all different recording, documenting devices, you know, it makes it much easier to, you know, to count things out, etc. Because you got video and you know that, okay, yeah, there's birds in the area. We got a trail cam and we know that there's kangaroos or wallabies or whatever. You know, we got something else that we can document the wildlife of the area. That's kind of what you do, is when you go into an area, we do a survey and we see, okay, what's actually in here? Okay, birds, fish, whatever, you know. So you got a general idea of what animals are in the area. But yeah, when you just sit in the sound recorder there, Rusty's had that same problem, is people can dismiss it, you know, unless you got like video verification of the wildlife, you know, trail cameras, video cameras, people, you know, other sources of evidence, you know.
Absolutely.
I was thinking of I was talking to someone and I was thinking of, because I've only got one trail camera, I was thinking of getting 2 more, and then in that area that, you know, where the howl come from, Adam, and then set these cameras maybe 100 meters apart along a big area, you know, facing different ways. Try to see even what else is around there. Like we could pick up foxes and that, so we can say, all right, this is what they're. We haven't picked up a dog, more than likely a dog's not going to be there. And then go through and try and dismiss as many animals as we can. And hopefully, you never know, you might pick up the hairy bloke, or you might get something weird, and leave them there for like 6 months. Just put in big cards and just leave them there. Put them in like July and don't go back till Christmas time or something.
You have to go back for batteries. Change your batteries over.
The batteries last for ages on them things, man. You can get 6 months on them, on the batteries.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, you get 6 months on them. They don't use much power. If you just set it to be activated, not constantly taking photos.
Yeah, just movement activated.
Yeah, movement. You know, sometimes it might even take a photo in one day, because there's no breeze or nothing. Everything's still. There's no birds flying in front of it or an animal. So try and have them so they're pointing a little bit down, so you can see the ground plus everything. You know, try and do as best you can to try and, so you can go from something walking up at the background maybe and something walking on the ground, so you can see if anything's trying to get underneath it, or see how many foxes are in the area. Because I know the week that I went there with Roger, there was foxes screaming all over the place.
Well, yeah. A good example of what you were just talking about, Dave, is even though we had, you know, 3 digital sound recorders document the howl, we had like 4 people, was it 5 people? Because that other couple, they heard it and they were much closer than us. We had 5 people heard it, 3 sound recorders, and but still, the next morning on our way out, I was cutting for sign on the track, and which I always do on the way in, on the way out, and during the day when we're there, looking for tracks and other sign. But On the way in, there was no muddy footprints anywhere. Nothing. There was like almost no activity. Like nobody had been there during the week, virtually hardly. Maybe a odd hiker or two or something. But you could see activity from when Dan was there a week or two before. But nothing really much beforehand. But on the way out, there was these wet, muddy footprints, literally like only a few hours old, that since we'd come in the day before, somebody had, or some person, two-legged bipedal person with huge feet, had put wet, muddy footprints through the grass and on the track. On the track. That's why it was like so obvious. I was like, you're kidding.
Actually, the
Right
gap
on the track.
It come through.
So it's come through the creek.
Footprint. It was standing there and it was howling.
What I'll do, I was doing it the other night, but I had to get off the internet. But I was uploading it to Facebook. So what I'll do, I'll upload the video that we got, and you can see the grass is all pushed down between the track and it's like a freshwater creek runs into the saltwater one, and it's come through there, and then you can see all the grass is pressed down in different places. That something's been walking around there or even sat down for a while or something, because it was a big area that was all grass was all pushed down either way, and then there was a gap where something could walk through and trodden all the grass. And and that's where the footprints were, because Adam's going, look, there's a print there, there's another print, there's another
on
print.
the track, even on the track.
The mud on top of the grass. So a
The
video.
water and mud, because it was he must be really, it must be a hairy creature, because it was like a sponge almost. There was so much water, like from the footprints. I was surprised. But
that wasn't like that the 2 weeks prior. There was nothing like that. So
there was nothing on the way in, because I was cutting for sign all the way in.
Yeah. So but there's not, like, even when I looked over the other side, there's no tree breaks or anything that you could see. Most of the trees are real big, solid gums, then there's nothing on the bottom from the break. There's in that area that I went over, but we had like the night vision and all that. If you're not over that other side at night, you're not going to see nothing from the other side. There's too much. There's like that, the wall of trees that goes along the creek and goes along
It's very hard to penetrate that with the cameras.
And then some areas just to the right of it, there's no flat area. It just goes straight from the creek straight up. The ridge just goes straight up.
You can't even walk past on the other side. You couldn't.
And then, like, if I'm going to set the trail cams up there, it's just the trail cams in the backpack, walk down, go there when it's a low tide, get across, set them up, come back over, and then...
Maybe it was complaining because we were there and it didn't want to try and come past us because it's a narrow bottleneck. Like you can't cross on the other side of the creek because there's nowhere to walk. So the only way to get past up that valley is to walk on our side. Yeah. And between us and the hill, there's it would have to climb halfway up the hill to go around us, box around us, because we would have basically heard it and seen it. We did hear it. It was fairly close to the camp.
200.
Yeah, 300 meters max.
And then I thought it was getting closer because the second howl was pretty loud too. But then after that, it started to, remember we were saying to Eunice, like, it's going away. It's not coming towards us.
Dan and I were so excited. This was like just a highlight of our Yowie researching, career, all of our experiences. This was such a highlight. Apart from the daytime sighting we had up in the Wattagans, this was a real, another highlight. We keep hitting milestone on top of milestone.
And I was saying, like, just before we went to bed, I was disappointed that nothing's happened.
We're like,
I'm going, I don't know how disappointed I am. I'm disappointed. I said it over and over again like a broken record, and then just bang.
The siren.
It was just like, oh man, quick, get the gear, and then just grabbed it, and I was on the, we're just ready for bed. That's what made it weird. I'm glad I put the trail cam and the sound recorder on the other side, and it only picked the first one up because it was that loud. The other ones, when it moved away, it didn't even pick them up at all. It didn't even.
Might have been facing the other direction.
No, it was actually the can that I had it in.
I'm saying the Yowie, it might have turned when it, away from the sound recorder.
It had to get the first one. The first one was that loud. It was just, it was that loud. It was like I had a loudspeaker, and it projected
very loud.
Louder. And it was loud as, and it was just like, it was so clear you could hear it. Like,
No earphones, no parabolic needed.
Perfect, and it was that loud. It was like it was just near us, and it was like, oh shit.
Because we've been going for hours with the parabolics, hours and hours and hours.
Hours, and then it was just like nothing there. It was like, all right, we're just gonna. Everyone was kind of like, oh, I'm getting tired. You know,
it was cold. It was a bit damp.
And then so I was just about to zip the tent open to get changed into the sleeping bag and that, and then that's when it went off, and we're like, quick, get the gear, and then
remember, like Dan and I are both there with the parabolics and everything. Eunice is trying to stoke up the fire, and she's telling me to get us some weapons, and the other couple, they're doing the same. Yeah, Eunice is telling me, get my saw, get your saw as a weapon or something. You know, she has a shovel.
A shovel, and she's stoking the fire. It's like ching ching. I'm going, quiet. We're trying to record here.
I'm like, gonna get it. And that couple that you got up and they stoked their fire up and got it roaring. He's got his little torch out, and he's like, he said they were crapping themselves.
Yeah, he said he's missing like shitting himself. So
they were so spooked.
He didn't get out of the tent. He got out of the tent, made a fire.
Yeah.
Made a big blaring fire going. He's got the torch out, and then he went back into the tent. So he was probably out 5 minutes out of the tent, back into the tent too. So they've lit the fire to, a bit of safety in their minds.
He was a bit worried that it was us at first, but he's going, no, because he could see us near the fire. We had our head torches and that, and he goes, they wouldn't be in the bush with no head torches, and if they were, they would be up near their camp getting a bit of firewood or something,
Yeah, so and we were. Yeah, we had our fire going and that.
Yeah, we brought the firewood in with us, most of it. So.
Yeah, we found it cut up on the trail, and we just carried it in. So,
way further back.
Yeah, there's no firewood, like big logs in the area. You got to go searching for them. So
somebody stored it up.
We go there again. We got to go and find some logs and carry them in. So and we used everything up that we had. It was all virtually gone by the end of the night, and we had a good stack of firewood there, didn't we? Like big round ones that were like so long. We had a big long one. It wasn't from a big tree, but it burnt pretty quick. So and you do need a fire there. It actually got a little bit cooler than what we thought, but because we were around the fire and we had our tents within a few meters of the fire, it kept us warm. So, but other than that howl, there was nothing else. There wasn't never heard anything walking around, no tree breaks, nothing. It was only just
usual wildlife, possums and foxes or something, or birds and stuff. Nothing of note except for those howls. That's you go out and you do all these hours and days and nights and everything just for these little, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, like the vocalization or the daytime sighting or whatever. That's what it's all for. But if you're not out there, it's like lotto. You got to be in it to win it. If you're not out there, you're not going to get it.
No, it's just like Dave said, you've got to be lucky to pick the time when you go that you actually get something. And, we've been pretty lucky, like even at Woodford.
Well, they're not going to hang around for you, mate.
No,
they're not just going to hang around waiting for you.
Like even at Woodford.
And they don't accept bookings,
Yeah.
I got the rock clack at Woodford when, that was all we got, and a couple little vocals there.
We had heaps of tree breaks when everyone else went to bed.
Yeah, they were just listening to them, man. I don't think we even had.
We didn't even have sound recorders or anything because of the weather was so bad.
Yeah, well, I had my only sound recorder that I had down at the creek where we thought we had that little footprint, but it ended up being just a kid's footprint.
Yeah, we're always trying to improve our recording capability, audio and video. Like we want to get these are like bottom of the range quality. These are like the dodgiest, cheapest, nastiest things from China. Okay?
They do a great job for
They do a good job. Especially I've got a Sony digital recorder. We're using good recorders, but the parabolic's not good. We need to get a proper like media grade parabolic. My brother, he has one that's worth like a few grand. It's quite long, and it's a directional one, like perfectly directional. But the sound quality of them is just phenomenal. We need something like that, one of those long stick ones that you put the big fluffy thing on.
Yeah, that's what Samuel had when we went out that time.
Exactly. So we need to get one of them, and that'll make so much difference because these, you're not sure. Exactly. It's like you pick up so much stuff. It's not very directional. It's more for the sound.
you know it's kind of coming from that area, but it could be a 10, 20 meter radius. So you've really got a pan.
But with these boom mics, they're perfectly directional. Like, I mean, like laser pointer, like pencil, you can like go, yep, it's there, right there, exact degrees. Here, you've got like 5, 10 degrees. You know, it's somewhere there, maybe 5 degrees, but these ones are like a pencil laser, mate. So that'd be really good to get something like that to improve our audio recording capability.
So
anyway, it's all money.
Yeah, it's all money. Other than the wee Jasper one in October, hopefully the weather, I don't mind it's cold. If it's cold, it's cold, but hopefully there's no rain. We just get a good quiet night. And you've been down there before, Dave. Just explain to us what we're in for, because we've never
Wee Jasper?
Yeah, wee Jasper.
Well, there's not much there, mate, just a lot of bush.
Okay.
A lot of bush.
Is it flat bush?
No, it's quite hilly. Yeah, it's quite hilly.
So is there a lot of trails going through those areas, or is it just one or two? Like,
no, it's very thick bush and dirt roads.
okay.
So you go along through dirt roads and you just full in with bush on both sides. The reports I've heard down there are literally people, cars breaking down and walking back to the campground, and that's when they have their encounters.
Well, what we can do is we'll drive so many k's away from the campground, and we'll just drop off pairs of people, and everyone just make their way back to the camp, walking back. And if we'll have the radios at them, and if we hear something, we'll get everyone picked up to go to that area, or it might be the way.
No, I think that's the way to do it. There's going to be a few people there, so the idea would be to break up
into smaller groups
and just have UHF radio communication.
Yeah. So the ones I got, Adam, can we tune your ones into that frequency? So there's at least 4 that we got, or how do we do it?
I tried, but I wasn't able. I wasn't successful, but I didn't give it much of a good go.
All right. How much are they worth to buy them, Adam?
Well, you can get a couple of them with the like what I've got with the cradle and the little hands-free mic and everything, and they're just a standard antenna for about $125 for a pair.
Okay. All right, I'll look into it. So at least if we get 2 more, we can tune them in, and we're going to have like maybe 4 groups at the most. Or
I'm going to have to, mate.
Yeah.
I've got my daughter coming to visit me, so I'll have to leave the group.
No worries.
Anyway, thanks for the chat this afternoon, guys. Really appreciate it.
No, we'll do.
And it'll be really interesting. Be really interesting to see what Rusty comes up with on those recordings. That's for sure.
Yeah. That'll be really interesting to see how it compares to other creatures in the bush here, and find out if it's something that no one's recorded before. So.
Oh, I don't think anybody's recorded it before, Dan. That's for sure. But anyway, I've got to go. I'll see you later.
Thanks,
See you later.
See ya. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to go down to the wee Jasper. And October, just hope, we don't have to call it off due to the weather. So, if it's going to be cold, we just put, there's plenty of firewood there. We'll just make a nice fire.
October? Really? After we were camping in the middle of the winter, you know that.
Yeah. But still, it's down south, so it takes a lot of time.
I know it is cold down there, but October, you shouldn't really worry.
We've got thermals. We've got, we'll have the fire. We've got our sleeping bags that go to -5 and stuff like that. So we'll be warm enough when we actually do go to sleep, if we get an action.
And it's going to be pretty much car camping anyway, so we can carry extra gear.
Yeah, if we're getting a lot of action, we're going to be up most of the night, So, you could easily even go have a lay down at 10 o'clock to 11, 12 o'clock and get back up and start doing something else, it's all night. So what Scott said, what he went there the last time, what he said to me, that the first time him and Greg went there, they had the little glow stick picked up and it was running around the area, and then it got put back down on the car. He said no one else is there, so that was weird. And then he said he went there next time with a mate, not really a believer in it, just went, I'll come out. He said by the end, when they went out there, and he said his mate seen it standing there looking at him like 6 or 8 foot tall or something. He said it was ridiculously high. He said his mate just wanted to go home there and then, was literally crying to say go home. And then they got back to the campsite. He said it circled around the campsite a few times and then it left. He said his mate was, and then after that his mate kind of settled down and said, oh yeah, let's come out again. This is it. This is awesome, you know. But he was crying at the start. He kind of freaked him because he goes, he'd never been out there. Thought, oh yeah, it's only a myth. And then the next minute he's
sees one
5-6 meters away, something staring there looking at him. And Scott said he missed out on seeing it because they kind of split up a bit. Scott said, oh, let's go back. His mate stood there for a bit and just said, I didn't say nothing. He just looking at it. And then he said, oh, there it is. And then it took off. And then by the time he came back, it was already gone. And he said my mate was pretty messed up. He was like really emotional. He goes, he just did not see a kangaroo or something. You know, he goes, you know, they live down more in the bush than what we do. And they know, you know, what things look like, you know, kangaroos and stuff, spot on with all the noises and that. And Scott's good with, you know, tracks. You know, he picks up tracks there, you know, even if they're like a half a track, he'll pick it up and yeah, that's more than likely going to be a deer or a fox or whatever. So he's good with the tracks. And yeah, he said, yeah, he wants to go out again. He wanted to go out this weekend. He asked me to go down. I said, look, I can't make it down there. But we're going to go to Mera Mera. You know, the way the weather is now, we could have went out, unfortunately, but I didn't want to take the risk of him coming up from Wagga.
We had here massive rainstorms, and I'm fairly close to it.
Yeah, so
massive, yeah. Really bad, heavy rainstorms.
Yeah, so I just said, look, no, it's just.
It would have been a disaster. It would have been a disaster.
I said, if it's raining or making noise, you can't hear anything. If you can't hear anything, it's no good going there. You're not going to see anything. It's just too thick, the bush. So, which is in like most of the bush around in the Blue Mountains and here, it's that thick. The thermal, like you look at the thermal that Simon brought when we went to even down to Wedderburn happened. We couldn't see through the bush that much, you know. Like when you were down the bottom and Heath and me, Eunice, and we went up to the top, to the ridge, you know, and then we heard that. I think it was the wallaby come up and you could hear it hopping. It didn't sound like it was running like other times. You guys were using the thermal. Could you see much into the bush?
We had a huge field of view and we could literally see everything. When we went back towards the car, we saw a roo and a small little bat and another little possum and all these creatures, and you could see them perfectly. But yeah. When we're actually, you guys were up on the ridge and we're down lower, we could see all the trees and the rocks, see everything clear as. But whatever came up, whatever those two or three creatures that came up, they stuck to cover, and the bush was so thick you can't see through it, even with the FLIR.
We all heard it coming up, and it was hopping. So it was on two legs, but it wasn't walking like us.
Whatever came up, we couldn't see it. If I saw anything with the FLIR, when we do see anything with the FLIR, you see it as clear as day. It's clear as day. But when they go behind cover, it's just like it's just incredible how they just completely disappear. 1 minute they're bright white. They go behind the trees and they're gone. They're gone. It doesn't take much bush to provide cover concealment. You know, conceal. It just conceals them from view. You need a line of sight. This is the difficulty in the Australian bush. It's very difficult to get line of sight.
Yeah. It's like you got more of a chance in the places like Simon went to where they got those pine forests and you can just see.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, from here, for us to get the pine forest, we've got to travel a little bit. But how much activities in pine forest then maybe?
Well, there's a lot of protein in eating them, pine cones. So the seeds and stuff, pine nuts and that. It's a huge amount. It's a huge food source.
Out of that Canangara Boyd, there's a lot of pine forests out there at the back there when you go to Jenolan. So, you know, a couple of things being sighted out there. We should go and do one out there when it gets a little bit warmer. You know, just to start of spring or something. So I'm thinking of going out there. You just go the other side of the mountains, go virtually where you're going towards Jenolan Caves, and then you just turn off, take a trail, and there's campgrounds in there. So
it gets real cold down there.
Yeah, I know. As I said, do it when it's springtime, when it gets a bit warmer. I don't want to go down
I was
there.
up there at the end of August one time, and it was like we needed gloves. Literally, we needed gloves, like snow gear, like ski jackets, beanies, gloves. It was so cold, and I mean, like it was like ice, and it was crazy. And that was at the about end of August, yeah.
You get there, sometime end of November, start of December when it's a bit warmer. So, yeah, I don't mind it cold. You just don't want to go when it's freezing cold. You can't enjoy yourself.
It's brutal. Even with the gear, it's I wouldn't be doing it anytime soon.
So, what did your missus think of the howls? Did you play them for her?
Only a little bit. Freaked her out. She didn't want to hear. Doesn't want to see. Doesn't want to hear. Just like Eunice, she doesn't want to hear again. Yeah.
No, she's heard them again, and she's like, oh. She just comments, they're not a dog, no way. That's why it freaked me out. They're not a dog. I've never heard that before. I'm like, me either. I've never heard it before, but it was something that I'm glad it happened, because I would have been disappointed in the whole night if nothing, because there's nothing else happening. It would
finally get. I'm recording multiple recordings.
Yeah.
An Australian Yowie vocalization. That is it. That is it.
That's good. That's what made the night. After that, I couldn't. Even when I'm laying down, I couldn't go to sleep because I was smiling.
I went to sleep with a smile on my face. I did.
Yeah, I was smiling. I was like, yes, we've got it. And then when I got the gear home and I'm putting it on, I'm like, I hope we caught it. Hope it sounds good. And then all of a sudden, I heard it, ooh, and I'm like, yes. And I was just like taking the sections out of the total recording, because that's all we had. We had nothing else. Once I got them 5-6 calls and put them. That's it. I'm just trying.
Victory. It's like it.
Yeah, it was good. But anyway, I'm going to stop this now because
I'm
a bit hungry, and I think you'll be too. And thanks for coming, Adam. And we'll plan our next group
Research.
out soon. And I'll try to see if we can get any more leads, because this lead come from Heath. So that's why we went there. So I thank Heath for that. But all right, mate. I'm going to stop it right now.
I'll speak to you later, Dan.
See you, mate. Bye, mate.